First of all, Kendrick is the natural lyricist, and Drake, I think, is a trained lyricist. You could train a fighter and he could be good, then you got those natural fighters. And while Drake got bars forever, Kendrick bars potency was stronger. So the battle for bar was something that was just not good advice on Drake's camp. Drake is a powerful artist in our culture, and you can't take that away from him. The thing that these young brothers should recognize, as you get older, you gain more knowledge and wisdom and experience. So hopefully as they mature more as humans, they can go, wow, that's crazy, that's fun. I ate you up, son. I love that other joint. My son love your joint. My son love your joint. That's just what it is, and here we are for the culture coming together.
So
legendary member of the Wu Tang Clan, RZA, got asked about the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef. And whenever a legendary person like this, and that comes from, like, I think at least the prime hip hop where actually lyrics mattered and it was really about hip hop and not clout and murder and blah, 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 what's going on now. When they speak on certain situations, when it comes to battles, I really want to hear their opinion, because to me,
hip hop has always been about clout and murder and stuff like that, brother. Been a lot of clout. Tupac was clout chasing when he said he slept with Biggie's wife. He didn't sleep with that girl. But anyways,
I hold their opinion to really, really high regard, because they were there when it was at its prime and delivering some of the best music that they, possibly ever in hip hop culture, right? So let's go over what RZA said about the Drake and Kendrick Lamar battle, and I really liked his take on it. So Wu Tang Clan legend shared his thoughts on the high-profile beef in an interview with Complex, and questioned Drizzy's decision-making, which is another thing that I questioned, because, some of it just didn't. It seemed like Drake was a little off in this battle in one way or another. I think he didn't take it, and I said this probably at least 6-7 times when talking about this battle. He didn't really take it serious, but that's no excuse, right? That's your fault.
He made a lot of mistakes in that battle, man. A lot of mistakes. I think he underestimated Kendrick. That's what he did. It showed throughout the whole battle. He underestimated Kendrick by the way he was on Instagram taunting him, putting pictures of his manager up. He handled that shit all wrong. And the main thing he fucked up with was that tailor-made freestyle, which was just terrible. Putting Snoop on there, putting Tupac on there. A lot of people liked it, but a lot of people like me from the West Coast who love Tupac, like I love Tupac. I think Tupac the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Snoop, another legend from the West Coast. Like, nah, and you from Canada at that. So, you know what I'm saying? We was mad at that.
For not pretending like Kendrick Lamar isn't a threat when he's literally the second biggest artist from your generation. You're the biggest because commercially, you sold the most, but Kendrick is literally second to you. He has sold what, 700, did almost 700,000 first week. He's been up there in high sales, has had #1 hits by himself. J. Cole has been third commercially. I'm just talking commercial success. I'm not talking anything else in quality of music, just commercially. Drake has been the #1 dog throughout that whole generation that's come. So that whole, my take on that is like, why did he never take the second guy serious? Let's go over what RZA said, though. He said this. First of all, Kendrick is a natural lyricist, and Drake is a trained lyricist. You can train a fighter, and he could be good. Then you got those natural fighters who also then go through training, he said. So that's a different chamber there. And while Drake got bars forever, Kendrick's bars potency was stronger. So the battle bar for bar was something that was just not good advising on Drake's camp, in the sense of just getting in that fight without really taking some more training for that. When Kendrick wrote the letter to his son or his daughter and to his mother, Kendrick is going to come like that. Nas, Kendrick, Eminem, Raekwon, certain people are going to break your shit down to the element.
He talking about Meet the Ground.
Exactly. Shout out to RZA. He continued, said, but in doing so, I do think that a lot was said, and Drake is a powerful artist in our culture. He helped the culture when the culture needed it. He expanded it with his melodies, and he raised a generation too. And you can't take that away from him. Respect. So, of course, I agree with you.
I respect that. I don't think Drake is a lyricist. in my opinion. I don't think Drake is a lyricist at all. It's hard to put Drake into that category when he's been proven to have ghostwriters. We don't know who's writing what. We don't know nothing. Now, I'm not talking about the R&B part of his music. You know what I'm saying? You singing and doing all that, cool. You got writers for that. But for him to have all these different albums and songs, you got to have some help. You got to have some help. You can't just do all this shit by yourself. So I think like he will never be in the conversation that Kendrick is in, because real lyricists like RZA, like Raekwon, like JAYZ, Eminem, they don't look at Drake the same. Like DMX, they don't look at Drake that way. He can't be in that same category because he has ghostwriters and stuff like that. So
that I think Drake has, of course, moved hip hop forward. There's no question about that. And just the fact that he's been consistent throughout all these years is something that we've never seen in hip hop. We've never seen somebody be so consistent and not take a hiatus, right? Eminem took a 4-year hiatus.
You can't take a break. I mean, you don't need to take a break when you're not writing the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. People got to call that shit for what it is, man. That should be the focus. Oh, we never seen this. Yeah, he got hella writers, bro. Look at his albums and shit. Like, it's hella people writing on that shit, bro.
JAYZ took a hiatus of, I believe, 3 years. Yeah, somewhere around there. Every artist.
And Drake got that terrible deal where he has to produce a lot too. That $400 million deal, he got to put a lot of music out and tour and all that. So let's not forget about that.
Like in hip hop when they had their like first run, they took a little break in between and they get their second leg. Usually those legendary artists do. But Drake just never, there really wasn't that moment where you could say, oh, he took this break. Now, was there a year that he didn't drop an album? Yeah, but he was still active and doing features and dropping songs and stuff like that. RZA also said he hopes that the former collaborators can eventually make peace. It took years for Nas and Jay-Z to swallow that pill and then come and shake hands on it. So hopefully it is not the same. Hopefully this generation can take it as fun, like how the beginning generation took it more for fun. Hopefully as
like I said in previous videos on my channel, man, about this whole beef topic, I don't see a point ever where Kendrick and Drake will be cool. I don't see why Drake would be cool with Kendrick given the allegations that Kendrick said about him. And I don't see why Kendrick would want to be on songs or make peace with somebody who we called a PDF file. I don't see why you want to do that. Like, I'd be very disappointed in Kendrick if he ended up forgiving him or making music with Drake. I'd be very disappointed in Kendrick, bro. You can't make them allegations and then do songs with him and stuff like that. That's corny.
They mature more as humans. They would go, wow, that shit was crazy. That shit was fun. I ate you up, son. You know what I mean? But yo, I love that other joint. My son, love your joint. My son, love your joint. And here we are for the culture coming together. I agree on that. You know, I think, but I don't know why. I just don't. Actually, you know what? I can see Drake and Kendrick eventually squashing this.
No.
I don't know what it would take. I don't know what moment they would do it, but I could see that happening, honestly. Even though the problem with this beef, it's been brewing for years, like subliminally for years, ever since the Control verse. That really took things to, at least Drake took it more personal versus all the other artists. And ever since then, there's been subliminals. So when I made my Nas versus, it's hilarious. RZA's talking about it here, but when I made my Nas versus Jay-Z, Who Really Won documentary, I said in the video that moment is two artists who are at the top of their game going at it. And that doesn't happen often. And Drake and Kendrick at the top of their game going at it. Right. And I said, if Drake and Kendrick were to battle, it would be like Nas versus Jay-Z, because that's like peak artist at the top of hip hop culture going at it for the crown. Now, Nas and Jay-Z obviously squashed their beef as the years went on. Can Drake and Kendrick do it? I don't know, because Nas and Jay-Z stuff, yeah, there were subliminals, right? And it slowly started brewing up. But Drake's and Kendrick's was like years and years and years and years and years. Nas and Jay-Z's was probably 2 years, maybe 3 years. I think of like some subliminals here and there. But
I think
look at Drake and Kendrick's was what Control came out in 2012, I think, maybe 2013. We're talking almost 10 years of just subliminally dissing each other. And then finally Kendrick says, you know what, fuck it. After first person shooter, I'm gonna go after you guys and attack you guys.
Loved it.
You know, he even dragged J. Cole a little bit in it, but yeah, I like what RZA said. Right, Kendrick is more of a natural lyricist. To him, he's more about the hip hop craft and culture and brewing a story in his albums. Has Drake done that? Can Drake do that? Yes, but I feel like Drake, and this, like Kendrick has said, to his credit, Drake hasn't, it's from Canada. He hasn't really been part of hip hop culture. He viewed it from afar and was a fan of it. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar grew up in it. Obviously, Compton in LA, gang culture, all that stuff. He grew up in it. He's part of that. He was bred in that. And for him, it's when he's rapping like that, he knows, he's seen it, he's been there. Drake has been, not to say that Drake, hasn't seen some things or done.
Not just that, bro. See, like, oh boy, he making some good points, but at the same time, when you talk about culture, and I don't think, this guy right here is not qualified to speak on Black culture. And I think that's what he's trying to avoid. And I'll just go ahead and say it. Kendrick Lamar was raised within Black culture because of his Black mom, his Black dad, that Black household, right? Drake is biracial, and he was raised as a Jewish biracial kid. You know what I'm saying? Look at the videos. They're all on the internet, right? You can go on YouTube, TikTok, whatever. You're going to find those videos of Drake looking like a biracial kid. He don't look like J. Cole was raised more within the culture than Drake was. You see what I'm saying? And they both are biracial Black men. But you look at, and they both have white moms, right? But you look at J. Cole, how he was raised, you could tell, like in the music, it just sounds different. The way J. Cole move is different. How Drake moved, he moved. I'm saying past tense, right? At the beginning of his career, it was just different. So with Drake, he got all those different accents, right? So that's how he be talking weird. 1 minute he talk like this, 1 minute he talk like that. You like, what the fuck? Like, why you sound like this over here and you sound like this over here? You know what I'm saying? The way he dress, he be around certain people, just weird. He don't fit in. You know what I mean? It's just different. So I think that's the difference too with Kendrick is that, yeah, okay, he was raised in LA in gang culture, but just because you're not raised within gang culture don't mean you're not a part of it. I think his household was that. Drake's household was single mom, single white mom, Jewish mom in a Jewish area. Dad is in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just all fucked up.
Done some things, but Drake's been more like, hey, I'm living with my mom. I'm an actor in my teens. I'm viewing this cool thing called hip hop and I want to be a part of it. And there's a difference in that. And Drake is more of a trained artist versus Kendrick, who naturally has it. It's like
Drake is an industry player.
Natural talent. Does he train hard? Yes, but he takes that natural talent and with hard and has a hard drive, work ethic, and combines the two. And that's why, he ended up being one of the best. And that applies to a lot of athletes as well. Like, if you have natural talent, there's some artists that are just naturally talented at writing, and they grind really hard and they get even better. And that's how they become one of the GOATs. And that's what this guy's saying here. I mean, RZA, this guy, I just said, like, some random guy just said this. That's what RZA's saying here. He's saying that Drake, in a respectful way, saying he was out of the culture. That's the way I'm taking it, at least. And he got bred into it and slowly and started learning about it and slowly starting to get better and better and better. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar just naturally had that talent, already had an eye for words and putting them together, got better and better as he grew, but like he naturally had it and was born into it. So that's the way I took it. And I agree. I think RZA worded it perfectly. But Drake, that's not to take away from Drake. Drake is.
Yeah, I mean, Drake just handled the whole situation wrong. And a lot of people, especially fellow rappers from that era of battling, the 90s, early 2000s, they're going to see it that way, that Drake handled it wrong. Like, he underestimated Kendrick. Like, he underestimated Pusha T. You know what I'm saying? He lost 2 battles in a row. He needs to not battle anybody else ever in life going forward. Just give it up, focus on your music, put out some slaps so we can dance and wave my hands, like Kendrick said, and we good. So anyway, thanks for viewing the video. I appreciate it. Leave a like. I'll catch y'all next time.